what is this? December 21st, 2021, Park Recreation Community Education Meeting.
Come on, you. Here we go. Mhm. No chat function. All right, here's your agenda.
All right, updates. I have none.
I have none.
I guess I'm sorry. So I did. I went through the old library with the select board at a meeting, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then sat in on the select board meeting last night. And it sounds like that the department will be getting the second and third floor as working space. So that's was very exciting. But the walkthrough was. They all seemed positive about it, and it seemed very positive at the meeting last night. So there we go.
All right, Aaron.
Nothing on my end.
Mike, floor's all yours.
Okay, so we had the CPC meeting, and there are a couple of things that came up that are germane to Park and Rec. One, and it was a very welcome surprise, kind of like Santa came to town. Light and Water approached the CPC about gifting $200K to active recreation, not to Park and Rec, but to active recreation. So that they could actually get the matching funds as well through the state. I think the verbiage is still being worked out, but any CPC request would sort of be funneled through Light and Water, for a project that would go towards active recreation. So I would encourage Park and Rec, to approach Light and Water and see if there's a project that we can feel that can benefit the town of Littleton. It's a good chunk of change, so that was very generous. The other point, they were going through the CPC requests and the funding of the previous year, and one of the things that came up, and I can't remember the exact figure. Alicia had sent you in an email. It was kind of like the remaining funds for the
Long Lake Reno.
Yeah, renovation. So, the question is are we still actively looking to use that, or can it be put back into the bucket for Park and Rec?
I would say that we are still actively using that.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you, I haven't had a chance to go check that email because I haven't been in.
Okay.
Do you have an idea of how much that was?
I want to say around 8K.
Okay. Yep. We'll definitely, that still can be used. There's some other things like roof and whatnot. Things always pop up at the beginning of spring that we need to fix. So
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, we would keep that.
I will, next CPC meeting, I'll voice that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. That's everybody. Minutes. You guys all get a chance to look at them.
Yeah. So when you guys are ready, somebody wants to make a motion to accept them.
I will motion that we accept those minutes from the November park meeting.
I will second that.
All right, all in favor, Kevin,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes, sir.
Saul. Saul is muted.
But I can read his lips and it said yes.
Sorry, yes.
Thanks, Aaron.
And I'm yes as well. Minutes are approved.
All right. So Tim is officially out on vacation, which is wonderful. I'm super happy he's going to spend time with his family, but just giving you an update on some of the special events. We did have our Holiday Helpers Bowl-A-Thon. So this was the first year that we did it. We do hope that we will make it an annual event. It was a load of fun. So this year we had 8 teams that competed. Definitely a big thanks to Saul. You were there. Much appreciated. Kaz and Sam also had teams in for the event. And Tim and Brent ran the show. So they did a really wonderful event. Our winners were the Gutter Gals that were representing the Littleton Public Schools PTA. So they took away the first place award for this year. So just some fun photos to go along with the event, just to kind of give you an idea of, what it was like. So hopefully next year we'll do it again. It would be wonderful if you could bring a team and we can grow the event, because the proceeds will go towards the Holiday Helpers Fund. So Holiday Helpers, I wanted to give you an update. We are officially done with the program. We gave out all of the gifts last Wednesday and Thursday. So they are all with families. We had 21 families enrolled this year. There were 45 children total, 135 wants. So each child gets 3 gift requests specifically. And then there were 447 needs. So that means, everybody essentially got winter jackets, snow pants, snow boots, hats, gloves, underwear, socks, clothes, everything you can think of that you may need that just, adds up as far as costs go. So that was, a fair amount of things that were definitely needed this year. So in total, we gave away 582 items, which costed approximately $25,000.
Wow.
So, yeah. So with the, between the donations that we were given, some from last year, that helped us a lot. We had leftover from last year, and from other donations that people gave this year, myself and Tim were able to go out and purchase items and fill those requirements. And then essentially everybody else from the community, picked up one of those tags and bought either a gift or many gifts. I mean, some people were extremely generous this year. It just, every year, this program just blows me away with how, generous our residents can be. And, they look forward to it, and our families are just unbelievably grateful year after year. So it was another excellent year. Just wanted to share that. It was, it was a hard year for everybody. So this was a super emotional year, I think, for families. So I can definitely tell you the gratitude on their side of things is much higher than it has been in normal years. Not to say that they've ever been ungrateful. They absolutely always are. But a lot of people moved to tears at people's generosity, and, thankful that they live in a town like Littleton, which is really wonderful. So, yeah. Any questions or anything about Holiday Helpers? No? Okay. So the next special event that we probably have coming up, I know Tim has been trying to work on Fire and Ice. It's always a fickle event. He's done an amazing job at figuring out how we can run the event itself without having snow or ice. So, you know, like I said, he's working on it. It's something that, knowing him, I'm sure he'll get something together. But I don't think we've come up with an official date on that. So the only other official event then would be the Ties and Tiaras dance, which happens the first weekend in February. So those will be the next two special events coming up in the future. So just stay tuned and we'll give you more information about dates and everything else that goes along with it. All right. So I was kind of surprised last night. We had, so I had created a memo for the select board and gave them a very specific plan of what we had designed in our head when we had walked through the library as a Parks and Rec team. So we've created this PowerPoint to sort of express what we were looking at and envisioning with that space. So I thought it was going to be presented at a later date, but it happened last night. So I had happened to take in the staff out for dinner. So we gave the presentation in the parking lot. It was interesting. But like Saul said, I think it was pretty positively accepted, and there was a lot of great things that, you know, they said about our department. We got the thumbs of approval from Mark Rombacher and from George Sanders. Hey. So all of those things are very good. So I'll just go through some of this. This was sort of, I was going to pitch it to you guys first and get your feedback and edit it, but it's already done. So it is what it is. But so we'll go through and just take a look at some of these things. So the big point that I wanted to get across with us being able to take over the space, we're requesting the second and third floor of the old library. And the big thing is that this is a change that, you know, I kind of focus this presentation on how it's going to help our department and Elder and Human Services. But additionally, it will help other town offices as well, because we'll be kind of playing that shell game. You know, one moves and then another can move into another area. So, you know, we'll be freeing up space in different ways. So essentially, our plan would be that we would fully move out of the 33 Shattuck area. So that whole base first floor area, and we would give that over to Elder and Human Services. So that will allow them to move all of their executive staff. So the director, the assistant director, outreach coordinator, all on the first floor, which, you know, for seniors, that's just, it should have been that way for a long time. So the fact that, you know, we potentially can do this in a relatively quick turnaround, I think that will help their department a lot. They are also dealing with storage issues the way that we are. So, you know, this would allow them to be able to move those offices down to the first floor and use some other spaces on the second floor as storage. So I think the outreach coordinator has her office, and it's in the middle of where all the like supplies are for, you know, having to go to the bathroom, the little, you know, walkers and things like that. So it's not a lot of fun having in-house meetings with people, you know, having all that stuff in your office. So it'll give them some breathing room, which is really great. So ultimately, I think we're looking at, we would want to have the third floor. I'm going to just kind of flip through. So it probably makes more sense for us to look at the floor plan. So the main floor or the second floor would be where it says admin check-in. That's the entrance that's facing across from Badger Funeral Homes. So we would have the check-in office right there at the front. Where the old desk was, let me see, can you guys see my little pointer on here? So the actual place where you would have checked out books or dropped them off, your circulation desk, we would look at possibly removing that whole desk area and see how much we can do to actually open up this entire space so that it could actually be a full classroom space. It has electricity, water, all the things that you would need for something that would be an art or like maker space. So, and then we would be looking at, once you enter the building, if you went over to the right hand side, we would have all of our offices in a line. So we'd be together. We would have an open space for folks to be able to fill out paperwork, just ask questions, etc. And then we would still have a conference room, but it would be more of like an open space conference room. So we would either attach the TV that we currently have in our conference room on this back wall, or we would potentially have it hanging from the ceiling. But we'd still want people to be able to, if they need to use it after hours, it would be open to the public. And then we would also be looking at this space over here on the right to actually make those into fitness or dance studios. So we would be looking at putting engineered or floating floors down. So, we would get something that's cost effective, similar to what we have in 123, what we put down before. So that would be a really great space. And then, hopefully we can eventually, or potentially right off the bat, be able to get those accordion doors that you can kind of cordon off spaces. So we'll really try to keep an open floor plan, but look at how we can actually create smaller spaces by whether it's using furniture that's already been there before, or potentially looking into some of these flexible walls. All right, any questions on the first floor? Nope. Okay. All right, so the third floor, we would be looking at this being our like youth or teen center. So one of the things that I kind of went past in the previous slides was, we had a teen program, or we'll call it's teen, but it's really 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So an after school program. So it would be a huge, big open space for us, which we desperately need. And, we would have the setup that in that one corner, we have our video game room. E-gaming is something that's really cool and is taking off. So that's something that we have enough televisions already at this point, and gaming systems that we could create that without actually spending more money. So that's fantastic that we could be able to set that up. And then we would just keep it a big open space and, use it as we would see fit. And then in the back area, we can use that for an arts or another kitchen area. It also has sinks and a restroom. So, I think it's something that it's a place for us to be able to expand into. This is an expansion, but I don't think this is ultimately where, we want to be forever. And, I did make that clear to the select board that we felt like this was an interim space for us, that we would like to look into an option for a community center in the future, knowing that where we're at with our debt ceiling, that's not something realistic right now, but, we do want to move towards that in the future. So that is pretty much the presentation that I gave them. I just talked about some workflow. Ideally, we need to get the space empty. We have to do some renovation. I've already talked to our IT department to start figuring out what we would need to do to change any of the technology installation, whether it's, getting wires, removing stuff. So we need to work that out with them so that we can do that in an efficient manner. Paint, move out of the space that we're currently in, and then set up, and then, we should be able to open for the public. It would be great. So that's all that I had on that presentation. Do you guys have any questions?
Looks good.
The reception was good from Board of Selectmen?
Yeah,
Select Board?
yeah.
Yeah,
I would
they were very, very positive.
Cindy very much said that she supported this and thought this was something that would be really helpful for our department. And yeah, there was definitely some other people that I think Cindy's pretty much the one that came out and said that Matthew Nordhaus as well said that he 100% supported it. But everybody else had a very positive take on it as well. And there was definitely feedback from the public that they were supportive of this moving forward as well.
Not so much a question, but a comment. That was really a good presentation and very well done. Kudos. It was great that you put together such a great presentation. It sells it very well, I think.
Awesome. Well, I didn't get to do the whole presentation, and it was like 20 degrees outside, so we did the best that we could.
Yeah, that was good. It was good. I can envision it. I'm excited about the sport.
Yeah, go back and watch it. You can see us like shaking and all the breath coming out of our mouths. It was excellent. Yeah. All right. So let's get into our director's report. We've got a couple of things to go through. So the typical finances, and then I'll give you an update. We did have our first conversation with the town administrator and our finance director about the 2023 budget that I put in for discussion. Not approval, discussion. So it's going to be one of those back and forth things that we have to figure out. Update on our program coordinator position, and just wanted to talk about a few topics that we're going to cover at the January meeting. So as far as November goes, we did really good, almost $5,000 in the positive this month. Again, slower, we're getting slower into the winter season. So we'll see how things are if they're going to pick up a little bit. We do have some more programs that are going to be starting after the new year. So hopefully we'll see a little bit of an uptick, but if we can stay in the positive as much as possible, then, that's better than not. So yeah, we're looking pretty good on the month this month. Year to date, I thought it would be, since we're getting close to like halfway, it would be good kind of to see where we are, what those year-to-date numbers have been on a monthly basis, just so you can kind of see where we're trending. I mean, clearly the goal is to go down. So we have been slowly going down. It looks like there was a little bit more of a jump this last month, but we did bring on some more staff. And there were some more, bills that we had to pay for the fall programs that happened this fall. So as we're ending the season for that. But overall, we have 224,000 in the net. So, we're looking really good as we're approaching half year. Any questions on any of this?
I didn't need it. Oh.
Hi.
Aaron, does she have a question?
Certainly doesn't have anything to contribute.
Wow.
Perfect.
And she
She's
can
got a
take
question
over
about
my
finance. Let's go.
She can be the
Elected.
chairman then.
Yeah.
Aaron, if she's got nothing to contribute.
All right. So this is our programs. This was something, Fred, you had asked last time to kind of break it out a little bit more. So I apologize. It's a bit of a busy slide, but overall you can see, obviously Camp T is our bread and butter of what brings in the money for our department. Sports camps after that, then adult sports, community education, beach, teen adventures. So for now, anything that's in the yellow on the right-hand side, those are our nets for the year where we're at right now. So again, we're doing pretty good with the nets. And yeah, we just have to go through, our winter, just keeping our costs down a bit. And, once we get the summer programs up for registration, then we'll start pulling in those bigger numbers to be able to make that money back up. But otherwise, we're honestly doing really great this year.
If I look at this, they're contrary to the past, it doesn't look like there's a program that has run a deficit.
No. Well, one of the things to keep in mind with community education, Rachel left in the end of August, so we haven't been paying anyone wages out of community ed. And our program coordinators are now being paid out of recreation. So that's kind of the reason I think community ed would normally be in a negative, just because that was something that was fully funding that position in the past. But so that's a little bit of a, what's the word I want to say? It's not quite accurate as it would be in a normal year.
I assume that the ski will have some expenses as we get into the ski season.
You got it. So great eye. So that is definitely one that we have just collected that money and we have not paid anything out yet. So that one, I mean, we'll see what happens. Right now, we don't have any snow and technically we're supposed to start in January. So I'm thinking that's probably not going to happen.
I mean, Wachusett is open, and I was actually at Neshoba Sunday, talked to their patrol director for a while about something else.
Yeah.
And they are dead set on being open on Friday. So
Wow.
They started blowing snow last night.
Then we're on, kids. We're going to be great.
There may only be one trail, but that's
it's better than nothing.
But yeah, they're gung ho to be. They actually were hoping to open today, but they're gung ho to open on Friday.
Okay, I did see that they've been like the snowmaking production's been on like super speed. So
yeah,
and it's cold, so I don't blame them.
Yeah, as long as it's cold, they'll be good.
Yep, awesome. That's great news. So we'll probably be fine. But we always, and we talk to parents when they sign up that it might get delayed a week or, we'll prorate if we need to do those kind of things. Like we're not going to make people pay for something that they don't actually get to do. So, usually it brings in a fair amount of money. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Any other questions about the program year to date?
Nope.
Okie doke. All right. So fiscal year 2023 budget. So keep in mind that we have already had the discussion with Alicia that we are going to switch from a enterprise over to a general fund and a revolving fund. So the revolving fund, I'll work with Alicia. We'll create that later on. I mean, I already have the numbers. It's all going to be based off of what the program is going to be bringing in and expending. That's all going to be in a different fund. So this is essentially what I'm asking from the town to cover. So this is kind of broken down into smaller portions. But if you want the full expansion of, did I put that on the other page? Oh, I did. Okay, so never mind. So go back one. All right. So this is just the overall of the items that I had requested. So ideally, it should cover all full-time staff. So all of the full-time staff plus benefits. So you see the numbers there on the left-hand side. Utilities, again, those are facilities that are open to the public, usually at no cost. So that includes the beach, that includes the Fay Park and 300 King. So part of the fees for the beach they don't cover the utilities. They don't cover the tight tank getting pumped, the electricity that's used, the water that's used. So that's something that the town, we've always asked them to take on. So just in the last 2 years, they actually created a utilities line in the general fund that we've been paying out of. Otherwise, we had been paying out of the enterprise fund to take care of that. Mailing and printing. So that would be if we went back to actually doing our paper brochures twice a year. That's the cost that it would be. Meeting and conferences. We're part of MRPA and NRPA, and then staff uniforms as well. So this year, I think one of the things we all have had to take our turns in the field for the ski program. So we did actually get winter jackets this year, which are very nice and lovely, but definitely needed, especially when you have someone like Kaz that refuses to wear winter clothing. So now he has to. And people know who we are because they can actually see the logo and know that they can come talk to us for any issues that they have. Before, I think we've had to wear like the pennies that the kids wear when they're out skiing. We have kind of taken care of that a little bit this year. In the meeting, you can see we kind of got cut by half here. So they are going to cover the wages just for Tim and I. Everybody else is just as it was before, going to have to be covered out of the revolving through the program fees. So the one thing that I did ask is that our admin, who has taken on more of the roles to be able to help me. So whether it's payroll or check, cash, and credit card turnovers, invoices, our purchase card statements, those are things that the programs don't cover. So she should be covered by the town. So they said they weren't going to pay for it, but Alicia did allow me to put it in as a request. So I can bring it before the finance committee and the select board and ask them if they would accept that. But as far as, having it supported by the town administrator, it sounds like that won't happen. They will take on the utilities as they had in the past. They will not give us office supplies. They will not give us mailing and printing. They will not pay for our meeting and conferences. And there will be no money for staff uniforms. I did not ask for $20,000 for special events, but that was something that the town administrator wanted to add on because he said that there are things that he may ask of our department to do that he would want us to assist them so that we would have money to be able to help out the town admin office when they needed it. So any questions about this on just a base level?
So how, I guess it's unclear to me how the revolving fund is different from an enterprise fund.
Yes. So the enterprise fund is they're similar things. So the main differences between them are the fact that with the enterprise funds, if I really wanted to take something out of Camp T and pay an expenditure for the beach, I could do those things. There wouldn't be any issues with that whatsoever. With a revolving, there are very specific accounts. I've always treated the enterprise kind of like a revolving because I'm not going to take money from other programs to pay for something else unless it's absolutely dire. And I've had those conversations with our programming staff so that they know that that's something that I would be doing. But in general, that would be like a last ditch effort. I don't like doing those things. I say, if you're bringing in the money, then you get to keep that money and use it. So essentially that's how the revolving would work. The other issue is that a enterprise fund can actually go into the negative. So we have this weird bell curve, right? It's an inverse bell curve. So, we make money at the beginning of the year. Then as we go into the winter, it goes down. And then as we get into spring and summer, it goes back up again. So if we would ever get to a place in the winter where we'd go into the negative, you can continue to run your department knowing that you're going to bring money back in and be able to balance that out. Whereas if it's a revolving or a general fund, once you're out of money, you have to stop. So you have to wait until there's like money to come back in. So budgeting, we really have to, instead of me looking at the budget and being very, I like to be kind of close and not charge people too much, just to be able to cover our needs and be able to save a little bit so that we have some money to work with if there's any emergencies or things like that in the future. But this, we kind of have to pad it a little bit more just to make sure that we always have money in the account to be able to run. So the other thing that we're really going to be focusing on with having this opportunity to have more of the staffing and some of the office components being paid for. I mean, just in general, the staff's benefits, all of us being paid for is a huge savings for us. So, we're really hoping that we're going to be able to keep money in that revolving account so that we can put that into a reserve and be able to save up that money so that when we get to a point and we're able to, move forward with a community center, that we're going to have money set aside to say, here you go, we can help you out. And we've done this grant, so we can add that money to it as well. So, we really want to be fiscally responsible if that's something that we're asking of the town. All right.
So I did have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So where do the funds come from? Things like office supplies. Where does that? What line item does that come from?
So everything is coming from the program fees, money that we bring in.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why, when a lot of people say that their taxes are paying for this stuff, the reality is, we actually really, truly, genuinely run like a small business. So everything that we do has to pay for our staff, has to pay for their benefits, has to pay for us, having our professional memberships and getting additional training to pay for the advertisements and marketing, office supplies, you name it, everything. So, when I broke down those numbers, this is the slide that I had that gave you the exact number of where we got to. So this is broken down into the 345 is what the town is going to pay for. And then everything on the right-hand side are the items that we're going to have to pay for in-house.
I'm good. I thought the town was not paying office supplies, mailing, printing, conferences.
Ooh, you're right. Why do I have that in there? Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I used the same format. So the 345, that's what we're going to have to make up in our budget in the revolving. So if you go back, okay. There you go. So the town will be covering the 3,059.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions about any of that?
So I have a dumb one.
No dumb questions.
Not yet. Where do for those office supplies? We got 18,000 a year. Like what falls into that bucket? Is that paper and toner?
Paper, toner, staplers, tape, pencils, pens, everything, you name it. Folders. We go through a lot of paper. It's really unfortunate, but it is the truth. So that's also, if you look on that right-hand side, it's going to break that down for you. So that's including the $6,000 that we pay for our MyRec software. We have vehicle maintenance that we put in there too, because there's nowhere really great for it to be able to live. Yeah, the office supplies turn out to be around 18,000 over the course of a year.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a question, and you probably
Yeah.
said this, and not until I saw these two pages next to each other.
Mhm.
There's a difference of like 20,000, right? Between what your original budget submission was and then what these two numbers are.
What do you mean?
Well, this is 345, 619 that you've got to make up out of revenue, right?
Uh-huh.
And then the town's going to provide, and that's that 20,000.
Yeah.
The 345 and the 359 don't add up to 686, which you would think that they would you not?
There's an extra 20,000 is what you're saying?
Well, I'm 340. I can't do the math in my head. I need
Now
somebody
I'm
else to do it.
Because that
three-
20,000 for special events, we never asked for.
Okay, I was just wondering where it was, why the two numbers didn't match, and that's okay.
Yeah. That was something that Anthony decided he wanted to add in, though we had not asked for it. Any other questions?
You mean good questions or more like mine?
You can ask whatever you want. I am here at your behest, so please ask me anything you like.
I'm done. I'm going to mute myself now.
Thanks for that. All right, so update on program coordinators. We hired Brent DeBraga. So he started on the 6th of December. And he has worked for the Boys and Girls Club for about 30 years.
Wow.
He's amazing. We're really lucky to be able to have, unfortunately, stolen him away from the Boys and Girls Club. But we're very, very excited to have him on. So we're back at full staff, which is wonderful because it has been a while since we've been at full staff. And they're cranking along. They're coming up with some great programs for the future. Sam is new too, and he's got his interests. He's really working on trying to get the after school program up and running. And hopefully if we have that new space to move into, it's just going to be, this amazing, here's a new program and, a new program space. So we're hoping that it'll be a really exciting, opportunity for those middle school kids, and that the parents will definitely hop on that program. And Brent, his background, like I said, he was Boys and Girls Club. He also worked in the HUT system at AMC. So he's a very outdoorsy guy, and so he's going to be working on our Teen Adventures program for this summer. So we're, like I said, very excited to have them on. They work really great with Kaz. They're a great group already. It's awesome. So if you ever get a chance to come in and say hi, please do. They're just wonderful guys. Okay. All right. So January meeting topics. I always, we talked about this before, wanting to be able to give the public pre-hand knowledge when we're going to talk about beach. So in January, we will bring up the discussion about beach operations, hours, and the rates that Tim will be proposing for this upcoming summer 2022. So that's just something that I wanted to be clear. We're going to talk about it then. We'll try to get the meeting stuff posted ahead of time, just so if folks really want to be part of that discussion, that they are aware ahead of time.
Alicia, are we going to make sure, am I unmuted? Yes. Okay. Are we going to make sure we share that information with our friends in the Long Lake Beach
Absolutely.
Association so that there's no issues that we are sneaking around and not telling folks about meetings?
Absolutely, Kevin. 100% we'll be doing that.
Yeah, having all the information beforehand so that we have a little time to digest will be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. And that as soon as we get back to the office after the new year, that's one of the first things that Tim and I are going to discuss is, I think he's figured out what his budget should be and potentially what some of these numbers might be. So, he and I will go over that. And then, if we are in agreement, then, I'll have him put together a memo or presentation so that he can get that out to you guys for review.
Excellent.
Okay. No new business. Is there anything anyone has?
I don't know if it's new business. I guess the only thing I would question, I saw that Groton closed their town hall for COVID.
Whoa.
Oh,
So just a sort of thought to be prepared.
interesting.
I
You
don't
mean
expect our,
was it because they had an outbreak in town hall, or was it because of the increasing of Omicron?
I think it's just the increasing cases and general situation. As far as I understood it,
Yeah.
it was a headline basically. And the NHL is taking a week off. There's lots of major happenings in that sort of world. So be prepared.
Okay. I hear you. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Okay. We have no old business. Go ahead. I thought I was going to hear somebody say something.
I think it was a little girl in the background.
Oh. All right. It's that time, my friends.
All right.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor,
There.
Kevin,
Aye.
Hi.
Aaron,
Yes, sir.
Solomon,
Yes.
Mike, wait your turn. Mike,
Yes.
and I'm yes as well. We are adjourned. Happy